Journal entry. Changes. On the day of the party, I wasn't feeling well. I had been excited all week and had really looked forward to this party, but from the time I woke up that morning, I felt off somehow. Angelo noticed my somber mood and asked me if I was okay. Not wanting him to worry, I assured him I was. Sylvia came earlier in the day and helped us decorate the back patio. Angelo picked up the order of mini buns and pulled pork, and Sylvia helped us make the sandwiches. After we finished, I went to change while Angelo made the punch. Soon the guests started arriving, each bringing a gift. I thanked each person for coming. Most of the kids there I had only come in contact with once or twice, so I was really looking forward to getting to know everyone. I briefly glanced down at my outfit, hoping I looked okay. I had chosen to wear a peach sundress, with my curls pulled up away from my face, cascading down my back. I had tucked a yellow flower in my hair that matched the lei hanging around my neck. I smiled at Angelo as he stood by, looking on like a proud papa as I entertained and mingled. We played some games, ate, and took turns whacking at the piñata. Jared, a boy that I invited and who followed me around a lot, finally broke it. He seemed really nice, but his hovering kind of creeped me out a little. We all scrambled around, picking up candy. Then I opened my gifts. I received clothing, jewelry, and gift cards. Sylvia gave me an art set, which I loved. I looked forward to using it and expanding my creativity. I saved Angelo's gift for last. Because he knew me so well, I knew his gift would be something that came from his heart. Unwrapping the package and opening the box, I smiled and cried, "Oh, Angelo!" In the box was a book about Bruce Lee, a book of show tunes, sheet music, a little pair of diamond earrings along with a gift certificate for ear piercing, and a framed photo of us that Sylvia had taken the month before during one of Angelo's meetings. I was sitting next to Angelo behind the desk, looking over some papers. We were laughing and joking about me taking over his job. It was a priceless picture, one that meant everything to me. Throwing my arms around his neck, I kissed his cheek, whispering, "This was the best gift ever," and he hugged me tightly. The whole gift was awesome, but for me, the photo represented stability, another sign that he would never abandon me. After playing another game, we moved the party to the pool, but I didn't feel like swimming. Plus, my stomach had started to hurt a little. I sat with another girl and just talked and watched the others. Twice, Jared winked at me before diving in, earning a raised brow and a grin from Angelo. When I gave him a saucy look in return, he chuckled and kissed my cheek, leaving me to go grab more sandwiches for my guest. A little over an hour later, they were done swimming, and Angelo helped everyone locate their clothes among the piles lying by the pool and handed out towels. Everyone thanked me for inviting them, and I thanked them all once more for the gifts. After the party was over and everyone was gone, I took the gifts to my room. I had planned on going back down and helping Angelo and Sylvia clean up, but my stomachache got worse, and something suddenly did not feel right. I felt sick. Thinking I might throw up, I quickly went to the bathroom, startled by what I found. Leaning over the sink for a moment, I drank a little water before going back to my room. I lay down on my bed, curled up, holding my stomach. That was the way Angelo found me a while later. By then, I hurt so bad I was in tears. I had never felt anything like it before. Angelo sat down next to me. "Katia, what is it, Tetherina?" "It hurts." "What hurts, Piccola?" "My stomach." He pressed the back of his hand to my forehead and cheek. "Do you feel sick?" "A little." "Maybe you ate a little too much." "But I hardly ate anything. And Angelo, there was blood when I went to the bathroom." For a moment his eyes widened slightly, but then his expression quickly calmed. He caressed my cheek. "Do you think you can get up and change into your pajamas?" "Yes, but—" "Just lie here for a bit. I'll be right back, all right?" "Okay." He kissed my brow, whispering, "Be right back, Katusha." He returned a few minutes later, his hands full. Sitting on the side of the bed again, he handed me a dose of pain medication. Then he placed a pack of sanitary napkins on my bedside table. Suzanne had purchased a supply and patiently explained what was happening. He explained about menstruation and told me about a woman's reproductive system and how my body was changing and preparing for womanhood. After asking some questions, I understood. He explained how to use the feminine products. I figured many girls would probably be embarrassed by having to discuss this with an adult, but I wasn't. This was Angelo, the person I love most in the world. I could talk to him about anything. I went to change and got into bed. I was still in pain, but it was starting to ease up a bit. As I closed my eyes, Angelo tucked the covers around me and sat with me for a bit, gently brushing the hair back from my face, caressing my brow. His touch was soothing, and as the room darkened, I finally drifted off to his whispered, Ti amo, mi Katia. As I got older, Kate began taking me on girl shopping trips. She helped me pick out things I needed and would yet need as my body changed. Things I should have had a mother helping me with. Angelo tried, but he knew there was only so much. He was still learning when it came to raising me. Taking care of a boy was one thing, but girls were an entirely different species. Even I knew that. I sometimes had mood shifts, but not as many as the average girl. Angelo always said there was nothing average about me. Sometimes I looked at other kids my age and wondered if I was normal at all. But after seeing the ways some interacted with their families, I would take being abnormal any day. I loved Angelo too much to ever be disrespectful to him in any way. There were only 2 times that my hormones ran high, and I had bad moments. Those moments were awful, and I hated it because I knew how much it hurt Angelo that I wouldn't talk to him, and we had always been able to talk about anything. Both times I cried and apologized the next day. His forgiveness was instant, and he took me out for ice cream. He always knew the way to my heart. I started taking over the cooking. Armed with an American-Italian cookbook, I became a pretty good cook, and he gladly turned the kitchen over to me. He even bought me a couple of chef's aprons, one red and one yellow, my 2 favorite colors, and a plaque to hang on the wall that said Katia's Kitchen. Many times we would cook together, even making a few dishes on the hotel restaurant menu. I sometimes had sleepovers at Sylvia's place. Since Sylvia never had children of her own, she kind of adopted me, and I loved spending time with her. She always had fun things planned. Sometimes Kate joined us and we made it a regular slumber party. Angelo always said I came back still giddy from the time I shared with them, and I suppose he was right. A night with the girls was always fun, and definitely a learning experience. Because of them, I was slowly learning how to be a lady. Once a month, Angelo and I volunteered in the soup kitchen at the homeless shelter. I love seeing familiar and new faces, dishing out food and serving. True, most teens would have probably found it boring, but not me. I would rather spend time there with Angelo, serving others, than anywhere else. I did hang out a little with friends and had expanded my social circle, but I still preferred doing things with Angelo. After all, he was all the family I had. Sometimes we went to the residential part of the shelter and visited with the children, spending time reading to them or playing games. The families loved any attention their children could get, and we always came away wishing we could do more. We made donations and kept them all in our prayers. Angelo even let me hold a bake sale in the yard to raise money, and we put together fun care packages for the children. He supported and encouraged me in everything I did, and that meant more than I could ever say. I continued to learn new things whenever I could, which kept me from having too many idle moments. Angelo said I must have been born with a driven spirit, and that my brain never shut off during waking moments, and I possessed a burning need to learn everything I possibly could. Maybe he was right. I liked to sing whenever I was alone in the house. One day, I found a free singing program online designed to help people improve their singing voice, and I began practicing whenever Angelo was out. Since I was usually with him most of the time, the opportunities were sparse. One day, when I had more time, I would pick it up again. Singing made me feel good, and I hoped that one day I would be brave enough to let Angelo hear me. When I turned 15, I finished high school, having taken the SAT and the ACT and passing both with perfect scores. Angelo said that this was a major feat, and he was proud of me. He said I had come farther and accomplished more than he ever dreamed, and to reward me for doing so well, we took a trip to Italy and Greece. We had taken many trips through the years, but never out of the country. It was an amazing experience for me. We spent the first few days in Rome, seeing the sights, the Colosseum, museums, ancient churches, and basilicas, and visiting with people Angelo knew growing up. He took me by his old home. The people living in the lovely villa were friendly and allowed us to come inside so Angelo could show me around. It wasn't hard picturing him as a small boy roaming the halls there. We shared a few meals with two families he knew well, and I discovered that dinner time in Italian families is always a major event. Since all the grown children lived in the same area, they shared dinner each day. Thanks to Angelo's lessons through the years, I was fluent in Italian and could follow the conversations easily, despite how rapidly they spoke. We spent 2 days in Treviso, 2 days in Milan, the shopping capital, a day in Verona, and our last 2 days in Venice, saving it for last. Though I was used to living by the lake, waking to the view of the Grand Canal was a totally new and unique experience. Just as in the other cities, we filled the days in Venice shopping and touring the old churches, including the most famous church, St. Mark's Basilica. Both evenings we took a gondola ride down the canal. Venice during the day was pretty cool, but at night it was amazing. Everything was lit up like Christmas. On our final night in Italy, we stood on the Rialto Bridge. It was late, so it wasn't as crowded. Angelo knew I wanted to take in every last moment, so he allowed me to linger. As we stood watching the gondoliers steering late-night vessels, passengers beneath us, I felt a lingering sense of awe. This trip was a dream come true for me, and I was filled with gratitude. "Thank you for bringing me, Angelo," I said. He wrapped an arm around my shoulders and smiled. "You're very welcome. I'm so happy I could share the country of my birth with you." He sighed, hugging me close. "No matter how long I live in America, Italy will always be my home." I looked up at him, watching melancholy fill his expression. "Do you miss living here?" "Always, but coming back makes me not so homesick." "Can we come back again sometime?" I grinned. "After all, we have to make sure you don't get homesick." He laughed. "Thank you for being so concerned for my welfare." "I do my best." He chuckled. "Si, tesoro mia, we will come back sometime."